Well, hello. Welcome to my channel. My name is Denise. I have been deplatformed, so you can find me on Telegram. And my Telegram channel is in the description of this video. You can also find my website where you can sign up for newsletters and information on calls to action. If you can please hit the subscribe button, and so you can get alerts to when I do go live. I'm trying to balance all of it plus my podcast, and it's just not working out, but I'm going to try. It's been a very, very bumpy few weeks. If some of you guys don't know, I am co-founder of Freedom Angels. We are a group of women who fight back against tyrannical bills and policies in the state of California. I am also founder of Mama Lisha. And I'm going to tell you guys what that is, because mainstream media, shame on you. I am so tired of feeling like I am so targeted. If you guys are new to my channel, I first started off in Health Freedom, which was, we are a movement of mothers and fathers, men and women, who want a choice when it comes to medical procedures. And right now, what we're seeing in the state of California, as well as across the nation, is an attack on our personal freedoms when it comes to medical procedures like PCR testing, the C9 vaccine. I'm going to get flagged on here. There's nothing I can say to not flag me. So, we fight for the right to opt out of medical procedures. And now we're fighting for the right to breathe and not have to wear masks. So I started off and the way I went viral is I went to my son's first doctor's appointment, where I was threatened with CPS because I refused to sign the refusal to vaccinate form. I was bullied. The doctor stood in front of myself and the door and told me that I wasn't going to be able to leave unless I signed the form, or she was going to call the state. I stood up for myself. I said, no, you're not going to do this to me. I read her the RICO Act, and I walked away from that office, and I ended up complaining to the medical board, and she got reassigned from that clinic. I wasn't a threat to mainstream or politicians or anybody, even the Health Freedom Movement, because I was just some mom from Stockton, right? I am just a mom from Stockton who was pissed off that I was bullied by a doctor and that I was threatened by a doctor, because I pay my medical insurance. I don't need someone to tell me that I need to do certain things with my kids. I don't need someone to tell me that they're going to turn me in to the, CPS or anybody to report me because I choose not to participate in the program. So my video went viral, and I started getting a lot of people because the people who followed me were in the same boat. We are not sitting here trying to, do medical procedures and perform brain surgery, but we know how to read, and we know how to say, nah, I'm not participating in this. I'm not going to do this to my kids. So boom, viral. I ended up stepping in a big old pile of shit because I didn't know what this movement was like. I had no idea what I was doing, just like any of us. I was naive to what I was stepping into. I thought, if we talk to these politicians and we tell these politicians, no, I'm not participating, no, you can't create these policies, they're going to listen. That was a slap in the face. Okay, we fought in SB 277 in 2015, and I wasn't really super active. I attended protests, and I spoke out a little bit, but I went hard in 2019 during SB 276. I, along with my team, led the strategy in the state. And, again, I was super naive to what was going on. I had no idea what I was stepping into, especially stepping into the Health Freedom Movement. So fast forward to 2019, and I'm just going to tell you guys what kind of environment I'm in, because a lot of people who haven't seen me, think I just stepped off, or I fell off, or I'm not involved. Let me tell you the kind of brutality that I am under, along with my team, along with Tara. We stepped into this, we led the movement because we said we shouldn't have to have exemptions. We do not need permission from our doctors to opt out of medical procedures. We knew that setting this up for medical exemptions only, and the way that they set it up, we couldn't even do amendments because there was nothing good about SB 276. This bill was laying the framework for what we're seeing across the nation. We couldn't do amendments because none of the amendments would have worked. We still were on a tracking system. The public health officer still had access to our children's medical records. Our doctors were criminalized for writing exemptions. Therefore, there are no more viable exemptions in the state of California, which is going to happen across the nation. So with this, when we decided to do what we did and say, no, we're not going to do this anymore, we're not going to be polite, we're not going to write letters, we're not going to think we have relationships with representatives, none of that, because none of them care. None of them care. If you don't see that now, after all the shit that's happening in the nation, then you haven't been paying attention. If you really think that we can win this by writing letters and building relationships with the Republicans, you are sadly mistaken. So I stepped into this health freedom movement only to be ridiculed and called controlled opposition and called a fraud and called that, oh, I take money and I spend it on my lashes. Let me tell you, first of all, you're never going to know somebody is controlled opposition. Never. All right? The way that you kind of know if they're controlled opposition is if they're making you chase your tail. If these people are causing division and causing confusion and causing people to, stop doing what they're doing and focus on one person or focus on action, or like me, focus on saying that I'm a fraud and I take money and I do all this, that is controlled opposition. Not people who are in the movement doing their work with their head down. Because every time that I said I was going to do something, I did it. Anytime I said there was going to be a protest, I brought you guys a protest. And it wasn't just a little throwing together protest. They are real organic protests that take money. We are up against the biggest, richest machine that we have ever seen. I don't know if it sounds distorted. We are up against a very well-oiled machine. A machine that has infiltrated our politics and our neighbors and our friends. We have had sleepers who cause confusion and who cause people to fight within themselves. That's what they want to do, right? They want you to fight within your own movement so that way nothing ever gets done. So now I'm up against my own movement that likes to fight within themselves. Let's just call it health freedom movement is, they'll eat their own, right? And they're a poor man's movement. So you can't do anything in there and ask for help money-wise, otherwise you're controlled opposition. It's really the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. We have an entity that is billions of dollars, an entity that has politicians creating policies that only benefit them, just like Senator Pan. Yet we have a movement that knows what's up, but doesn't want you to work. Otherwise, you're controlled opposition. It's really stupid, and it's the dumbest shit ever. But the worst thing that I'm fighting against right now is mainstream media. So mainstream media is in collusion with our Democratic politicians here in California to create a narrative that the health freedom movement are extremists and that we are only here because we're far right and we want to work with all these crazy ass organizations. They are doing that again to confuse you and to distort reality and to make you feel like everybody's controlled opposition, to where I even have people in the movement in the same chats as I am, supporting the same people that I support, calling me extreme. My extremism is I want body sovereignty. I want to have the choice of what medical procedures I want my family to participate in. I want you to have the choice on if you want to wear a mask or not. If you're a healthy person, you should not be wearing it, but it is your choice if you want to decide to do that or not. That is my only goal, is freedom of choice. Yet mainstream media has came at me with Wall Street Journal, LA Times, Washington Post, New York Times, calling me far-right, white supremacist. So they are attacking a woman, a mother, a Mexican woman, calling me names, making people scared of me, making these politicians go against their gut. Because I work with a lot of politicians, and they're scared because they have higher-up politicians calling them, telling them that they shouldn't be working with me because it's a career killer, because I'm far-right. Exactly. This is what they do. That is their job, is to cause confusion and to cause, I can't sue them because they're not using my name as a connection with, a certain word. But they're calling all health freedom activists the far-right extremists. And people like Senator Richard Pan in California are going along with this because I have a feeling, it's just my feeling, there's going to be a bill very soon in the state of California that's going to mandate this shot for adults and children. And they want to stop the protests before they start. They want to scare people into creating these labels. So no, don't work with Denise. Don't work with Freedom Angels because they're far right. And then what happens? Where are the protests going to be? Who knows how this legislature works when they start naming all of us these names and nobody wants to work with each other because now they've caused confusion. Look out for bills coming out in California because Richard Pan is on a tirade right now on Twitter trying to create this confusion that we are far right. When all we want is the security to know that we can opt out of medical procedures. Now, not a long time ago, they put up an article about me, and I'm going to get into Mom Militia, saying that I'm a far right because I support the Second Amendment. We even had to go as far as our website was mom-militia.org, and we had to scrap it and change our name to Mamalitia, MAMALITIA, and that's in the description of this video, because of the names and the narrative that they have tried to push on us, to where there are literally people who haven't done anything, right, who've just been fighting the mandates and fighting the mask mandates and all these things, haven't done anything. But they're literally looking out their window, waiting for an alphabet agency to come to their door, just like I was, waiting for them to come to our door. Because who knows? Who knows what mainstream the politicians have created? To where we're not even comfortable in our own home, and a lot of people are scared to speak out. I had to take a step back because I didn't know what the environment was looking like. I had to look at the terrain and see how I was going to maneuver this. And I shouldn't be scared or nervous because I have done nothing wrong, and neither have any of the health freedom movement people. So what did I start? What did I create? What did I find? I found a movement of women who are ready to be taught how to self-protection, how to grow food, how to build relationships with farmers so that way we don't starve, how to replace their pharmaceutical medication with homeopathic and natural medicine. I've created a group of leaders and people, women, who want to create their own community and create the community they want to live in, which is creating their own homeschool co-ops and teaching each other life-saving skills. Because you know what, right now, what we're seeing is that people who have large platforms, like our Hollywood people and politicians and mainstream people, what they're trying to do right now is say, those who don't want to participate in the program, those who don't want to mask up, those who don't want, the government telling them how to live and breathe, those people should not be participating in this society. Those people shouldn't be able to go to work, or shouldn't be able to go shopping, or shouldn't be able to send their children to school. So in order to be successful, and in order to be able to live our lives, we have decided to create the world we want. And that means creating our own income, creating our own homeschools, creating our own doctors and clinics, and finding all of these people that fit in the pieces, so that way we don't have to rely on mainstream media. And for that, I have been called every single name in the book by mainstream, by politicians, and by our own health freedom activists. And it's very, very disappointing how quickly the health freedom eats their own. I am so tired of that word, controlled opposition. Like I said, you will never know who is, because it's not like they're going to come out with a t-shirt that says I'm controlled op. They're going to come out and they're going to cause confusion. And that's what happened to me last year. There was a group of people with no profile pictures, no real information on their Facebook page. They didn't really have, nobody knew who they were. But they created this narrative that I was a fraud and that I don't work with Denise because she's controlled op and there's too many questions surrounding her, blah, 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 blah. Every single thing that I've ever said I was going to do, be it from protests to, in 2019 when we were fighting SB 277 or 276, I paid for buses to come out from Los Angeles to Northern California because I knew that the state is too big, right? And there's some families, like my own family, who just can't afford to be traveling like that. So I said, well, we're going to get buses. And I raised money to get buses, and people got buses. I paid for people to come and travel so they could stay in Airbnbs because there's nowhere these people can go from Southern California. They can't come to the Capitol because they can't afford it. So if I'm able to help you, I'm going to help you. I bought lunches for protesters. So when we were at the Capitol and we were there for 12 hours a day and we couldn't leave because we needed boots on the ground, I paid for food. I paid for all the things that relate to protest, which includes porta potties, about $1,200, $900 to $1,200 each time, stages, material, everything. So everything I ever said I was going to do, I did. And it's very, very confusing on why that narrative stuck, why people really got suckered in to the bull that all of these are controlled opposition. These people were controlled off. They were set here to cause confusion and cause division. Now, I may not like everybody in health freedom. I may not agree with the way that they move and their actions. Like, there's a guy in health freedom that started a lot of the bullshit with me. But as long as you do your work, I really don't care. I learned my lesson on who to help, how to help, and what not to do. Because in the beginning, all I wanted to do was help, and I realized not everybody is built the same. So here I am, still standing, still standing. I haven't went anywhere, but I have been completely deplatformed. Why have people been ignoring all the things that have been happening for a year, right? The destruction of communities, the looting, the killing, the real acts of destruction of our country. They've ignored that for a year. And then they bring health freedom, they bring the freedom movement in, they bring me in to say that I'm far right and that the people that I work with are, let me tell you the people who I work with. I work with a very small handful of men who have protected me and my group of women when we have went to the Capitol, when white guys in skinny jeans and gas masks and helmets came out to call me a racist and to try to assault all of the freedom activists who were at the Capitol. That's what these proud guys, did for me. They stood in the middle of me and them, and they said, no, you're not going to do that to her. So while I have white guys in skinny jeans calling me a racist, throwing things at us, throwing homemade bombs, throwing glass bottles, bear macing women and children, the media decides to call me a racist. Well, people like Senator Richard Pan come out and call me an extremist and put my face and my name out there. He's the one who stood out with the BLM sign while there was destruction happening across the nation. he should be investigated for his ties to BLM and the destruction of what happened in California and Sacramento. So, good morning, Colin. Thank you guys for listening. It was just a rant. I have been removed from everything, so finally I have access to my YouTube channel. But this is just what's happening. I haven't went anywhere. I am still very much in the game, and I'm very much boots on the ground. I had to take a step back and look at the terrain and see where I was at. And where I'm at is I'm still in the game. Mainstream media is not going to scare me away from doing anything. Senator Richard Pan and all the Democrats in California are not going to scare me from continuing to work in my community and say, nope, you're not going to do this to us. You do not have the right to call me or any of these health freedom activists or freedom activists extremists, when people who create policies that are extreme, like SB276 and SB277, while you sit there thinking that you have clean hands, then you get money from the special interest group to create policies that only support the special interest group, you should be investigated. What Richard Pan did in the state of California was really destroy our children's education, destroyed the relationship between doctors and patients, and created this streamlined event to where public health officers are now creating policies, and they are unelected, they are appointed. I will not apologize for my support of the Second Amendment and the First Amendment. I won't apologize for my actions because I have done nothing wrong. I have created a very strong group of women who are creating the world they want to live in. And I'm not going to stop. So I'm going to continue to keep working. I'm going to try to do my podcast a little more professional because I'm in my car. But please just stick with it. Keep going. Keep talking to people. Keep letting people know of the information that's out, that this gene therapy is still experimental. It's still in the experimental stage. And what we're seeing is very dangerous terrain right now. We're seeing that in Texas, they are already participating in experimental human trials on babies for this gene therapy. They're using 6-month-old babies now to see if their product works. They're using pregnant women to see what happens. And now what we're seeing is that the VAERS database is flooded with reports of injury and death. Before, they didn't care. Nobody cared. They said VAERS was a bullshit site, anybody can do a report. They didn't care because our babies couldn't talk. Nobody knew what was going on. You have that detached screen with the arching of the back and, the babies hitting their heads in pain. And nobody cared because doctors would say it's normal, right? It's normal. Take them home and give them Tylenol and just let them rest. But now it's adults. And adults are starting to talk now, and adults are starting to tell their stories on social media, and the adults are starting to question why are they being censored for telling their story that happened to them. How do fact checkers know what happened to them? They don't. Now we're starting to see the stories coming out, and it's now more than ever where we're going to need you guys to start talking and to start letting people know what this program is about, even if it makes you uncomfortable. We have a lot of patriots out there, and we've got to make sure that patriots aren't scared to do patriot shit. And this is patriot shit. It's going out, being uncomfortable, and letting people know exactly what this program is about. This program is going to destroy us. It's going to destroy us because we are the experiment. It's really bonkers to know that people still trust their government after all of the experiments that have been released. But, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep talking, and I'm hoping that you guys keep talking. So, to stay connected, I have a huge phone tree, and I have a huge group of people who are ready to rock and roll and to go out there and educate. Get on my Telegram channel. My Telegram channel is linked in the description of this video, and if you cannot find it, you can get to me directly. It's Denise_freedom_angels. Get on the channel. This is where I leave all my links and information that social media has banned. And I will continue to put up podcasts, so I'm going to start these podcasts regularly. I'm trying to figure out when that's going to happen within the next week or so. But get on that, and then visit the website at mamalisha.org. Again, that is linked in the video, or in the description of this video. And if you're looking to get political and to learn and to be trained on politics, visit our website at freedom-angels.org. Thank you for listening, and I will see you guys soon. Have a great day. Bye.